If you need money, begin not by looking around you, but by looking within you. The supply of the universe is endless, but it answers only to the voice of faith, not to the cry of fear. You are not separated from abundance, you are a channel of it. When you think lack, you close the gates through which riches flow. When you think supply, when you feel gratitude, when you speak prosperity, the invisible river of plenty begins to move toward you. Money is a servant of spiritual law. It does not come by struggle, it comes by alignment. Many chase it, but it runs from them, for they chase it with doubt, with worry, with the belief that it is scarce. Yet to the one who stands still in faith, knowing that all he needs is already prepared, money comes quietly, obediently, as a messenger fulfilling its divine appointment. If you need money, do not speak of need, speak of supply. The word need binds you to lack, the word supply opens the gates of abundance. Say within yourself, there is a perfect supply for every demand. Money is circulating freely in my life. I am one with the endless riches of God. Repeat it not as a plea, but as a decree. For what you decree in faith becomes law in your world. The world of form is a shadow of thought. If your thought is poverty, the shadow must show poverty. If your thought is wealth, the shadow must show wealth. That is the hidden law of creation. The person who fears bills will always find new ones to fear. But the one who blesses every bill, saying, "There is supply for this and more to come," finds that the very act of blessing multiplies their resources. The universe responds to your vibration, not your complaint. Money, like every other good, comes through channels of love, harmony, and faith. It never flows through resentment, envy, or fear. You must cleanse your consciousness of all bitterness toward success, all hidden beliefs that money is unspiritual or evil. Those are false ideas that block the stream. Money is good when used for good. It is the tool through which you express generosity, build comfort, and share beauty with others. When your purpose for money is pure, your supply becomes sure. There is no such thing as being cut off from your good. The same power that keeps the stars in their course governs the flow of substance in your life. You may say, "I have nothing." Yet if you have faith, you have the seed of everything. Speak to that seed with confidence. Divine substance now takes form as money in perfect ways. The channels of supply are open. The right doors open, the right ideas appear, the right people come forth. Believe this unseen good until it becomes seen. Do not be deceived by appearances. The world may say, "You are broke." The world may say, "There is no way." But truth whispers, "I am your supply." Stand firm in that truth, for faith is the magnet that draws forth every visible blessing. Worry repels, gratitude attracts. You cannot think lack and receive abundance. You cannot dwell on fear and expect flow. The inner picture must be changed before the outer world can change. When you need money, do not run after it. Prepare for it. Set your house in order. Pay what you can, bless what you owe, and affirm that the balance is divinely adjusted. Refuse to see debt as a burden. See it as temporary evidence that your good is on its way. Release the tension around money and replace it with calm expectancy. Expectation is faith in action. The person who expects to receive finds opportunities where others see none. The right idea comes at the right time. The check arrives when needed. The gift appears in the least expected form. The unseen hand of spirit arranges everything perfectly, but it all begins when you stop saying, "I need," and start saying, "I have." The words, "I have," are a bridge between the invisible and the visible. They affirm that you trust the law of supply. There is no delay in divine mind. The only delay is in human doubt. As soon as you release the doubt, the answer rushes in. The money you need is already somewhere, waiting for your recognition. Perhaps it is an idea, a contact, an opportunity. The moment you open your mind in faith, you will be guided to it. When you find yourself anxious, quiet your mind and say, "The same power that created the universe provides for me now. Infinite substance is my supply, and I am open to receive it in perfect ways." Feel the peace that comes with that knowing. Feel the doors opening. Feel the burden lifting. For when your heart is calm, you are aligned with the rhythm of prosperity. If you need money, give something, an act of kindness, a word of faith, a seed of generosity. Giving breaks the fear of lack. It tells the universe, "I trust the law." What you send forth returns multiplied. Every coin given with love carries invisible blessings that find their way back to you. Remember always, money is not your master, it is your mirror. It reflects your inner world. When you honor yourself, money honors you. When you live in faith, it flows toward you. When you act from gratitude, it stays with you. You are never poor in truth. You are rich in potential, rich in ideas, rich in the love that draws all good things into form. If you need money, speak to the invisible as if it already were visible. Thank it before it comes. See it, feel it, claim it. The moment you believe that you already possess the supply, you have set the law in motion, and nothing can prevent its manifestation but your own disbelief. There is no limitation in the divine economy. The same law that governs the stars governs your pocketbook. The same power that sustains the earth sustains you. Stand in that truth and let your heart rest. The supply is ready, the door is open, the abundance is yours. When you believe, money responds to faith, not fear. What you believe about supply becomes your experience. When you live in the consciousness of fear, you close the door to the very thing you desire. Fear says, "What if it doesn't come?" Faith says, "It is already on the way." These two attitudes create entirely different vibrations in your life. One repels, the other attracts. The law of supply is not swayed by emotion or desperation. It responds precisely to the tone of your belief. If your belief is rooted in lack, you will experience lack no matter how hard you try. But when your belief is rooted in the certainty that there is an infinite source that meets every demand, that belief becomes a magnet for abundance. Faith is not hoping something might happen someday. It is the quiet knowing that it is already done in the unseen, waiting for your recognition. Every thought and word carries energy. When you think, "I don't have enough," you vibrate lack, and the universe mirrors it back to you. When you think, "I am provided for," you vibrate supply, and the universe rushes to confirm it. You are never waiting for money. You are waiting for your consciousness to align with abundance. The invisible law of manifestation works like a mirror. It cannot reflect wealth to one who holds the image of poverty. That is why the person who complains about never having enough always finds themselves in the same circle. The moment they shift their belief from fear to faith, doors begin to open. Unexpected opportunities arise, ideas come, help appears, and money begins to flow, not by struggle but by right consciousness. Faith is a spiritual currency. It buys things that money cannot. It opens doors that effort alone cannot move. When you are in faith, you walk in a state of calm expectation. You no longer chase, because you know what you seek is already yours in divine substance. You no longer beg, because you understand that you are a rightful heir to abundance. The person of faith does not look at the empty purse with anxiety but looks beyond it, declaring, "There is plenty more where this came from." Such a person walks in quiet authority, knowing that what they affirm in truth must soon appear in form. The universe is obedient to the command of faith, for faith speaks in the language of divine law. Fear, on the other hand, is faith turned upside down. It is belief in the power of lack instead of belief in the power of supply. It is creative energy misdirected. When you fear, you are using your imagination to visualize failure, and because the mind is creative, it draws circumstances that match that vibration. The person who fears losing money usually loses it. The one who fears not earning enough will always find proof to confirm that fear. The universe does not judge, it simply gives back what you project. That is why guarding your thoughts about money is one of the greatest disciplines of a prosperous life. You must become the master of your inner speech, for it shapes every outer condition. When you hold unwavering faith in supply, you rise above appearances. Even when the outer world shows emptiness, you do not panic, because you know that the outer is only a reflection of old thinking. Faith looks beyond the moment and calls forth new substance. It sees the invisible stream of good flowing toward you, and acts as though it were already here. That is the secret. Acting from the vibration of already having, not from the vibration of waiting. The moment you believe your need is met, you give the law permission to fulfill it. The law cannot bring you what you doubt. It can only bring you what you claim with confidence. Faith is the power that transforms invisible substance into visible form. When you think a thought of abundance and feel it as true, you set a mold in your mind. The creative power of the universe then fills that mold with substance, producing outward results that match the inner image. The clearer and stronger your faith, the faster the manifestation. If your belief wavers, the flow weakens. That is why consistent faith, steady, calm, and certain, is the secret of those who prosper without struggle. They do not allow appearances to dictate their emotions. They keep their inner vision fixed on supply, and because of that, supply never fails them. Money is drawn to faith like iron to a magnet. Faith radiates confidence, and confidence creates order in the unseen. When you believe in abundance, you make decisions from power, not fear. You invest with courage, you give freely, you speak affirmations with authority, and every act aligns you with greater supply. The fearful person hesitates, withholds, and contracts. Their energy says, "There is not enough." And so life echoes that message back. But the faithful person expands, blesses, and releases. Their energy says, "There is always more." And so more keeps coming. The same external world reacts differently depending on the belief within. To live in faith about money is to live in partnership with divine law. You stop relying on appearances and begin relying on principle. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop pleading and start proclaiming. Faith is the invisible substance out of which every coin, every opportunity, every idea, and every blessing is formed. When you realize this, you will treat your thoughts with reverence, for they are not idle. They are instructions to the universe. Every time you think or speak about money, you are programming your future. Choose words that build faith. I am supplied. I am prospered. I am guided to my good. These affirmations are not empty sentences, they are spiritual commands. Fear may try to whisper, "What if nothing happens?" But you must answer it with faith. Something greater than I can see is already happening. The person who waits for visible evidence before believing will wait indefinitely. Faith precedes manifestation. It does not follow it. You must feel rich before you appear rich. You must speak abundance before it shows up. The invisible always comes first. That is the divine order. The person who understands this law never panics over circumstances. They know that the moment they shift their inner picture, the outer world must follow. Faith also opens intuition. When you are calm and trusting, your mind becomes receptive to divine ideas. The true currency of wealth. Money often comes through ideas, not merely through people or events. One inspired thought, received in faith, can lead to channels of prosperity beyond your imagination. Fear blocks this guidance. It clouds the mind and shuts down creativity. But faith keeps the channel open. It allows you to be guided to the right opportunity at the right time. Faith is not passive. It is active cooperation with divine intelligence. It listens, acts, and expects. To build faith about money, practice gratitude for what you already have. Gratitude magnifies faith. It shifts your attention from what is missing to what is present, and whatever you focus on expands. Say often, "I am thankful for the money that flows to me freely and easily." Every sincere word strengthens your vibration of abundance. Even small demonstrations, an unexpected gift, a discount, a saved expense, are evidence that the law is working. Recognize them with joy, and your faith will grow. Money is not moved by anxiety, it is moved by assurance. When you are steady inside, things begin to move outside. You become magnetic to prosperity. People trust you, opportunities find you, and ideas unfold naturally. It is not luck, it is law. The universe must obey the pattern of your belief. Therefore, make your belief unshakable. Guard it from fear, nourish it with gratitude, and act as though your supply were limitless, because in truth, it is. The only limit ever placed on money is the limit placed by belief. When faith becomes your foundation, abundance becomes your reality. Speak of abundance, not lack. Your words are decrees that shape your financial reality. Every word you speak carries a vibration, and that vibration sets the tone for what manifests in your life. When you constantly speak of not having enough, of things being too expensive, or of life being hard, you create an energetic mold of scarcity. The universe, being obedient to your spoken word, fills that mold with matching experiences. Your words are not idle sounds, they are creative commands issued to the unseen substance of life. Every phrase that leaves your lips either builds or destroys. To speak of lack is to invite it. To speak of abundance is to summon it. When you speak words of faith, you tune yourself to the frequency of supply. You align your mind with the ever-flowing river of divine substance that is always seeking expression through you. There is no shortage in the universe, only in human belief. The air you breathe is limitless, the sunlight boundless, and the same principle applies to money. Yet the moment you start declaring limitation, you shut the door to this infinite supply. If you say, "I can't afford it," you decree that you cannot. If you say, "Money comes easily and frequently," you decree that it does. The law does not question your words. It simply fulfills them. You are a living broadcasting station, sending out messages with every word. The universe is the receiver, and your life is the reflection of what you have broadcast. Those who habitually complain about lack find more lack. Those who speak of plenty attract it in ways beyond logic. The world mirrors the language of your consciousness. To change your conditions, you must first change your conversation. Instead of talking about what is missing, begin speaking of what is coming. Instead of rehearsing the story of struggle, tell the story of abundance in advance. Words are seeds, and the harvest they produce depends on the quality of those seeds. The person who masters their speech about money becomes a master of manifestation. When you speak, "Everything I need is now supplied," you are not lying. You are affirming a higher truth that is already real in the invisible realm. The spiritual law hears and moves to make it visible. It is not the outer world that changes first. It is your word that sets the change in motion. That is why declarations spoken with faith have creative power. They call substance out of the unseen. The greatest misstep many people make is to speak about what they don't want as though it were permanent. Every time you say, "I'm broke," you reinforce a pattern that keeps you there. You are not just describing your reality. You are scripting your future. Begin to watch your words carefully. Replace every negative statement about money with a declaration of faith. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't pay this bill," immediately correct it to, "Divine supply meets this bill easily." If you say, "I never have enough," change it to, "I always have more than enough." Every correction strengthens the habit of abundant speech. Over time, your subconscious accepts this new language as truth, and your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match it. This is not mere psychology. It is spiritual law. The unseen world obeys the command of words spoken in faith and belief. When you speak abundance, you not only change your own vibration, but also lift the atmosphere around you. Your words bless your home, your business, your relationships. They carry a tone that others can feel. Some people wonder why their environment feels heavy. It is often filled with the residue of fearful speech. Every complaint, every word of limitation, lingers in the air and attracts its kind. But when your speech is filled with gratitude, joy, and confidence in supply, it purifies the atmosphere. Money and opportunity are drawn to such energy naturally, for it feels like home to abundance. Speaking abundance does not mean denying reality. It means declaring a higher reality. You may see an empty wallet, but you do not give power to the emptiness. You give power to the invisible source behind it. You might be between paychecks, but you say, "Money is on its way." Divine supply never fails. You acknowledge the appearance, but you affirm the truth. Over time, truth always overrides appearance. The person who speaks from truth instead of fear walks in dominion. They do not bow to conditions. They direct them. Words of lack create confusion in your finances, because they are words of fear, and fear blocks flow. You may work hard, but if your speech is filled with doubt, your results will always fall short. Words of faith, however, open channels that effort alone cannot. You might make one phone call that leads to unexpected success, meet one person who opens a door, receive one idea that changes everything. These are not coincidences. They are responses to your words. The universe is always listening for your vibration and translating it into form. One of the most powerful practices is to make prosperity declarations daily. Speak them aloud with conviction. I am open to receive money in expected and unexpected ways. My income increases constantly. Every dollar I spend returns multiplied. The universe loves to prosper me. When you speak these affirmations, feel them as already true. Let your tone carry authority, not pleading. The law of abundance does not respond to begging, it responds to knowing. As you persist, your words begin to carry energy. You start to feel wealthy inside even before the outer wealth appears. And that feeling is the key that unlocks manifestation. Even casual conversations matter. Never joke about being broke or laugh about poverty. It is not harmless humor. Every word carries power, whether spoken lightly or seriously. Words plant seeds in your subconscious mind, and that mind does not understand jokes, it understands vibration. Speak of wealth with joy, of success with ease, of generosity with excitement. Make abundance your language of life. The more natural it becomes to talk about money positively, the faster you align with prosperity consciousness. Your words also carry the energy of gratitude. When you say, "Thank you," for what you have, even for the smallest things, you multiply your good. Gratitude-filled words release resistance and make room for more blessings. When you say, "I am so grateful for this payment," you are signaling the universe that you recognize supply, and what you recognize expands. When you say, "I am thankful that money is always finding its way to me," you strengthen your faith and open new channels. Gratitude and abundance are twins. They walk hand in hand. Every successful person understands, consciously or not, the power of their word. They speak success before they see it. They bless their work, their clients, their projects. They talk about possibilities, not problems. They expect increase, not loss. This expectation, spoken aloud, becomes a magnetic field that draws success toward them. The unsuccessful, on the other hand, often use their words carelessly. They talk of limitation, competition, and fear. They predict failure and receive it, because the universe simply fulfills their spoken prophecy. To speak abundance is to speak life into your finances. It is to partner with the creative law that governs the universe. Each word is like a seed falling into the soil of time. If you plant seeds of abundance with conviction, they must grow into visible prosperity. It may not happen instantly, but the law is precise. It never fails. The more consistent your speech, the more steady your results. When your words, thoughts, and feelings all agree in abundance, nothing can keep wealth from manifesting. So guard your tongue with the same care you would guard a treasure. Let no idle or fearful word escape it. Let your every sentence affirm prosperity, supply, and peace. Speak as though the abundance you desire is already in your hands, and soon it will be. The power of creation has been placed upon your tongue, and what you decree in truth must become your experience. Give, bless, and expect. Generosity and gratitude keep the divine flow of money open. The law of circulation governs all things, from the breath you take to the money you hold. When you inhale, you must exhale. When you receive, you must give. It is the rhythm of life itself. Money, like energy, must move to stay alive. When you hoard it in fear or cling to it with anxiety, you choke the flow. The river of prosperity cannot pour through a clenched fist. But when you give freely, without fear of loss, you declare to the universe that you trust its endless supply. That trust opens invisible channels of replenishment. Every act of giving sends forth a signal of faith, and faith always draws substance in return. Giving is not about the amount but the spirit behind it. You can give a coin or a kind word, a prayer or a helping hand, and each act ripples through the universe. It is the consciousness with which you give that determines its power. If you give grudgingly, you block the blessing. But if you give joyfully, knowing that you are sowing into infinite abundance, you activate a spiritual law that multiplies your good. Giving says, "I have enough to share," and that declaration itself attracts more to share. The universe recognizes the vibration of sufficiency and expands it. The one who gives from fear of lack loses. The one who gives from faith in supply gains. Every time you bless your money, you elevate its vibration. Before you spend, pause and bless it. Say silently, "This money blesses everyone it touches and returns to me multiplied." That blessing turns an ordinary transaction into a spiritual exchange. It changes your relationship with money from tension to trust. When you pay a bill, instead of resenting it, bless it. Say, "Thank you, divine supply, for meeting this need perfectly." In doing so, you release gratitude instead of resistance, and gratitude multiplies your supply. Those who complain over their expenses unknowingly create more to complain about. while those who bless their obligations find their prosperity increasing. Money responds to attitude. If you treat it with love and respect, it stays and grows. If you treat it with fear or resentment, it slips away. Many people repel money because they secretly dislike it or feel guilty about having it. They call it the root of evil or believe it corrupts. Such beliefs poison the flow of prosperity. Money itself is neutral. It takes the character of the one who uses it. When you bless money, you purify it. You see it as divine substance taking form for good purposes. Then it becomes a faithful servant, not a master. Giving also loosens the hold of fear. It proves to your subconscious that you live in abundance, not scarcity. When you give even a little, you make a powerful declaration. I trust the source of all supply. This trust creates a vibration that draws more back to you. The miserly person who clutches every coin lives in a state of silent fear. Fear of not having enough, fear of losing what little they possess. That fear creates stagnation, and stagnation attracts loss. But the generous soul lives in flow. They give joyfully, knowing that every release of good returns multiplied. The universe loves a cheerful giver because such a giver mirrors its own nature, the nature of continual outpouring. Blessing extends beyond money. Bless your work, your home, your health, your relationships. Whatever you bless increases. When you bless others for their success, you tune yourself to the same frequency. Envy and resentment cut off your good, blessing aligns you with it. When you see someone prosper, say within yourself, I rejoice in their success, and I am open to my own. In that moment, you shift from competition to cooperation with divine law. You recognize that there is no shortage of blessings in the universe. There is only the flow that you either open or block through your thoughts and feelings. Expectation is the third key that completes the circle of abundance. Giving and blessing set the law in motion, but expectation keeps the channel open. To expect is to know that the good you have sent out must return. It is the quiet assurance that what you sow, you must reap. Without expectation, giving becomes duty instead of delight. You must give in faith, bless in joy, and then expect in confidence. Expectation is magnetic. It draws your good to you swiftly and perfectly. Those who give but secretly doubt that anything will return delay their own harvest. The law of return is exact, but faith is its activator. When you expect prosperity, you unconsciously prepare for it. You make space for blessings to enter. You organize your life in harmony with increase. You carry yourself with quiet confidence, knowing that unseen forces are working in your favor. Expectation is not daydreaming. It is an inner certainty that something good is unfolding. It keeps you in tune with the vibration of abundance. When others speak of lack, you remain centered in trust, knowing that the divine economy never collapses. Giving, blessing, and expecting are spiritual practices that keep your relationship with money pure and harmonious. They transform money from a symbol of worry into a symbol of flow. The more you give, the more easily you can give. The more you bless, the more you have to bless. The more you expect, the more quickly you receive. It is a divine cycle that feeds itself endlessly when you stay aligned with its rhythm. The only thing that interrupts it is fear or ingratitude. Fear tightens the hand. Ingratitude closes the heart. But generosity and gratitude open both, allowing life to move through you freely. The flow of money is a mirror of the flow of love. If you hold back love, it withers. If you give it freely, it multiplies. The same principle governs every form of good. Those who are generous with time, attention, and kindness always find themselves surrounded by opportunity. The energy they give out comes back through unexpected channels. Sometimes as money, sometimes as favor, sometimes as peace. The law of giving does not fail. It simply returns the essence of what you gave multiplied. You may begin with small acts. Give where you are led to give. It might be a meal for someone in need, a tip given with joy, or a gift that carries no expectation. Do it not for recognition but for alignment with abundance. Every act of giving breaks the grip of fear and opens new channels for receiving. You cannot outgive the universe, for its supply is infinite. Each time you release, you make room for greater inflow. Gratitude is the atmosphere in which giving flourishes. A thankful heart recognizes the endless circulation of good. It sees every gift, every opportunity, every dollar as part of that flow. Gratitude turns ordinary moments into miracles. When you give thanks for the money you have, no matter how small, you honor the law of increase. When you bless those who have helped you, you multiply goodwill. Gratitude magnetizes supply because it signals that you are ready to receive more. To live in continual flow, practice this simple rhythm: give freely, bless sincerely, expect confidently, and give thanks constantly. When these become your natural way of being, you rise above financial worry. You no longer chase money. You attract it effortlessly. You no longer fear loss. You know that every outflow is a promise of inflow. You become a clear channel through which divine abundance moves without obstruction. Money flows to you, through you, and from you in perfect harmony, responding always to your giving, your blessing, and your expectation.